I was born in 1992, so was this game. So can a modern gamer like me survive a dungeon crawler which released when I couldn't even hold a mouse? Growing up playing video games as a kid in the 90s, I feel like we were always waiting for the next big thing, the next evolution in video games. We weren't really looking back. Minecraft, GTA, Skyrim, among countless other games on the other hand, are played to this day by people who probably weren't even born when they released. In turn, chances are low, if you're in my age or even wiser, that you've played many games that were released before we were born. So I thought it's an interesting journey back in time to replay some of the best, weirdest or most unique games that kinda defined our favorite hobby. For the uninitiated among you, me included, Ultima was a pretty big deal back in the days. Before the Elder Scrolls, before Baldur's Gate, even before proper 3D environments existed, Ultima was the king of RPGs. It was a massive top-down 2D franchise, but in 1992 they decided to do something insane, make a fully 3D first-person game, months before Wolfenstein 3D even existed. And like that, they've accidentally created the blueprint for every modern first-person RPG. There are no quest markers here, you have to write down your own map notes. The surface goal is just to beat the game, but the real question is this 1992 relic actually a masterpiece or is it just pure nostalgia? To my surprise, the intro sequence looks pretty badass considering it's more than 30 years old and it's even voiced properly.
Several tense hours later, you were dragged before Baron Ulmric.
Oh, there's even a character creator. The good old selection between male and female. We can choose our class. I think I will go with Paladin. But after being thrown into the abyss, the first thing that hit me wasn't a goblin or a rat. It was the massive UI taking up half of my screen. Why show so little of the actual game, you'd rightfully ask? We'll try to answer that a little later. First, let's look at my first battle I had. Still no enemy in sight though. I was fighting the controls instead. If you're pressing S and expect to go back, it's not. It's going forward. Just as the W key makes sense. Right? To walk backwards, you have to press X. Want to look up or down? It's 1 and 3 respectively. This confusion will become a frequent issue throughout my entire run. Okay, how do I pick up stuff? Okay, I guess this I means I can look at things. Okay, yeah, the game tells me what I'm looking at. Okay, with the right mouse button I can pick up stuff and just put it here in the inventory, I guess. Just like that. Nice. When finally managing to stumble into another room, I expected to get jumped by the first mob. Fortunately, I was met by a friendly human who dumped some essential lore on me. He told me about a camp inhabited by his fellow survivors down here as well. And suddenly, it didn't feel like a basic dungeon crawler anymore. There were several factions and real depth here. This gave me my first real goal, find the human camp. On my blind run through the next room, actual combat was waiting for me finally. It was pretty janky as you'd imagine for a 30-year-old game. And a single bat already managed to poison me. In a modern game, you'd probably just down that antidote the game gave you earlier. Or the game would show you a big fat text overlay telling you exactly what to do. But here, nothing. My life was draining slowly and I had no clue if I'd survive. Would this be my end already? I was frantically fiddling in my inventory and I shoved whatever food I had into my character's mouth. I thought that would heal me up, but it didn't do anything, and the poison was gone after a couple of minutes by itself. I survived. A few moments later, I found some basic leather armor, a sense of progression. This new confidence was shattered almost immediately though. I found myself what seemed like an endless stream from which I'd never escape. Oh, hello, little frog. Or are you a turtle? Okay, crap. It's a frog kraken. And it doesn't seem that friendly. After swimming along for an eternity, I found an escape. Not knowing where to go, I ran around like a headless chicken, only to be beaten to death by a spider. Fortunately, the game had manual saving, which I used extensively. After my way back into the stream onto unknown territory, I stumbled upon more deadly creatures. Turning random corners, I encountered an orc. Without giving it a second thought, I charged headfirst and tried to stab him. Once again, I was brutally struck down. I felt like the game was giving me a clear message. This is not just a simple hack and slash. If you treat it like that, you'll die. But I was getting a better idea of the game's mechanics and survival more and more. I ventured back into the dark, and this time I wasn't prey. I got some lucky hits on those worms and felt powerful for the first time playing this, and even managed to find another key. For the first time I actually felt a sense of accomplishment. The real game changer came when I discovered you can jump in this game. Yeah, really. I thought that was revolutionary for this time period. You might think, haven't I tried to hammer that spacebar to find out about it way earlier? Well, I did, but times were different back then. then jumping is located on, you guessed it, the J key. This realization alone wasn't the switch that made things more clear to me. Oh, I can actually light the torch to see further. Ah, I thought the game can't render that distance, so that's the reason it's so dark. But no, it's a gameplay mechanic. Man, these guys were geniuses. This newfound ability in combination with the enlightenment gave me the power of trying my platforming skills. This should let me come to a catastrophic realization a little later too, but right now it was a huge mistake to try and jump around. I plummeted into the abyss several times and discovered the game has insane fall damage. They thought of everything. I was a little stuck and for some reason going back wasn't an option anymore. My hero for some reason must have forgotten how to properly swim forward. And since my health was becoming a problem too, I went to my bedroll having a nap, which made my torch go out sadly. I was stuck and blind at the same time, unable to swim back and too stupid to realize this was a secret door. I had to swallow the bitter pill and reload an older save, basically starting from scratch. I was devastated. Just a quick interruption from my suffering. I thought it would be a fun idea if you could put your year of birth into the comments and we'll look at games from that year in future videos. Back to my ridiculous gameplay. The issue was I had to swim here to get anywhere really. This time by pure trial and error I managed to find another way of moving around. Pressing this little cute button down here makes you move with lightning speed for some foreign reason. It was hilarious honestly. Okay, I think I broke the game. Help. I'm stuck on the floor. Okay, pressing W got me back on my feet, thank god. After swimming around with insane speeds, I met the orc from earlier again, but this one I was the one taking it down. Following this epic fight, I tracked down the spider. Well, okay, I just randomly stumbled upon it honestly. The point is, I got my revenge. But the controls were driving me nuts a little and I was concerned I'd be waking up with deformed fingers after playing this more than 30 minutes. I tried to fiddle in the options and remap the keys. Silly me forgot I was playing a game from 30 years ago. Of course no one thought about remapping keys back then. Maybe it was also a technical limitation, I'm not sure. So why was this UI that humongous again? So you see, we are in the middle of a massive price hike crisis, everything hardware related today. Back then in the 90s, hardware might or might not have been as expensive as today, I'm not sure. But they had way less compute power, of course, than today. So the developers had to find ways to cram their incredible, ambitious graphical monster into the ancient hardware which existed without making their systems explode on the spot. They made the decision to design this remarkable, huge UI and leave a small amount of screen estate to the actual game. Genius. Well, back to my not so genius-like gameplay. Using some of the giant UI buttons, I managed to talk to one of the orcs I encountered and to my absolute surprise, they opened their gate and let me into their humble homes. Not quite the human camp I was looking for, but we were getting closer. Talking to some of them turned out to be more tricky and surprising than expected. Their slightly snotty leader refused to give any answers if not spoken to, like he's the absolute G in the house. The dungeon and the world I was moving in started to feel alive. Shortly after leaving the friendliness of the orcs, I got ambushed by a gazillion rats. I panicked, ran blindly down a hallway and accidentally stumbled into level 2 of the abyss. I was barely surviving the first level, what I was supposed to do down here. Not meeting anyone friendly for a full 2 hours and now just within minutes I found the next friendly inhabitants of the dungeon. These mountain men let me trade, which was another lesson I had to teach myself by clicking around randomly. Okay, what do I do? Okay, I accept the offer. Oh, no, I didn't want to offend him. Sorry. Oh, up here. Oh my god, I'm stupid. Okay, I can move my items there. Now I can trade. Sweet. 2 camps down. You could argue I found friendly folks already, but I set out to find the specific human survivors mentioned by this guy at the beginning of my adventure. Now, stuck in level 2, I was lost. But with pure dumb luck, I found another way upstairs back to level 1. That only led me into another maze where I got lost again when it hit me. That dude at the beginning, he talked about a jump, and I learned that I can actually jump. So wait a minute, let me reload an old save. Okay, light this torch. There we go, it was here all this time. Right at the beginning. Right here at the start. I just had to drop down here. Oh wait, I can't open the door? Oh. I think it can't be stressed enough how groundbreaking this game was to pave the way for modern games, especially RPGs. I think it's safe to say it was genre defining. And thanks to websites like GOG, it's still perfectly playable today. However, if you want to try it, but it's too old school for you, the controls are too clunky, the graphics are not appealing, there's one mad lad who's porting this game to Unity. It's already playable today, and just a couple of days ago, as I'm recording this, he added mouse and keyboard support. I think it looks insane. Maybe I will have a look at it a little later as well. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one. Bye bye!